Survival and surviving. They're all the rage at the moment. Television shows like Survivor, the Hollywood blockbuster Castaway. But what you're about to see is as real as it gets. No tricks, no stunts. Imagine you're in a helicopter that crash lands in the desert. You have no food or water. It's desperately hot, and help is 6 days' walk away. How would you cope? In this story, 12 ordinary people face that extraordinary ordeal. A true test of survival that will take them to their physical and emotional limits. A test in the name of science. The whole operation was supervised by NASA advisor Dr. Sheryl Bishop, who's helping to plan future missions to Mars. She was there to learn more about human behaviour under extreme stress and whether gender affects the way people cope. The answer, I suspect, will provoke heated debate. After all, it's the answer to that age-old question: when the going gets tough, who's the tougher, men or women? This is hostile country. The Pilbara in northwestern Australia. To be stranded here is to risk death. But recently, 12 people did just that voluntarily. In the name of science, they embarked on a truly extraordinary journey, a true test of survival. In searing heat, they must walk 100 kilometres over 6 days. They'll be given no food and must find their water. They will break down,
take a bit of the heat away,
break apart.
I really don't want this on camera.
And fall out.
I'm so sorry they're like this. I can't believe
It's not
it
your
myself.
fault.
I know, it just doesn't give me a lot of faith in women. I've got to tell you that right now.
This is no game.
There's 5 priorities: find and make water, warmth, shelter, signals, and then a long way down the list, food. And you just get your priorities right, and you stay alive until you self-rescue yourself, as in this case, or until search and rescue teams arrive.
Bob Cooper chose the participants and set their punishing ordeal. Cooper is a survival expert who trains the Australian military and people prepared to test themselves to their absolute limits.
I push them to the edge that I know that they can handle.
Observing with Cooper will be Texas psychologist Sheryl Bishop. Dr. Bishop advises NASA on human behaviour in extreme environments.
As you know, we're doing trying to collect some scientific data.
Her data, including saliva samples to measure stress levels, will contribute to research she's doing for the American space program, devising ways for humans to live on Mars.
Suck on it for whatever time it takes till you feel like it's fairly saturated, then spit it back into the...
Her particular interest is whether gender affects the way people behave in extreme situations. In a scientific first, the men and women will be divided into 2 teams, set the same task and compared.
This is a really unique opportunity because we have an all-women's team, which is very unusual in extreme environment. Men tend to be much more task-focused. There's a job, get it done. Women tend to be socialized to a greater extent to attend to the relationships. How is everybody doing? Is everybody getting along? So they tend to focus on the people and how the relationships are going in a group.
6 women and 6 men.
The glue's come undone.
Looking for adventure and a little self-knowledge.
Paul's good at fixing things, so.
Among them, a biologist, a building foreman, a teacher, a marathon runner.
It's probably walking on hot rocks constantly and whatnot.
Judy Zabos has come searching for a new start.
Well, I've just had a marriage breakup about 6 weeks ago. It's a little bit like a watershed in a way, if you can put it that way. It's like a new beginning in a way.
So can we then think maybe there's water up that way or anything? Why would the snake would it be going?
He will be following.
In addition, there's
a
Glen
mouse
Ridge
on a long
and
track.
Getaways Sorrel
So you've got a
Wilby,
hopping mice
our
there.
eyes and ears to observe as much as participate. Glenn from Sale of the Century has filmed a number of documentaries on the Outback. And Sorrel is no stranger to adventure. She's trekked through the Himalayas and has climbed the major mountains of Africa.
Small, but edible. I'm just looking forward to getting out there and stripping back the layers and just reminding myself of what it really feels like to get back to basics.
Well, I've tried to approach this project with as much enthusiasm and positiveness as I possibly can. Although I've never really faced the prospect of being without food for maybe 6 days and in these sort of conditions.
All will be tested as never before. But perhaps none more so than Terry Poole. A gold medal winning Paralympian, she has just 3% vision.
My last diagnosis was about 3 years, and I'm going to have my next big change. And I think that's a really nice way of saying totally blind.
So, in effect, you're making an album that you can carry in your heart for when you can't see.
Yeah, that's it.
There are few tougher proving grounds than this, the Australian desert. A remote Pilbara plain 1,700 kilometres north of Perth is the team's starting point. Survival depends on walking 100 kilometres from this plain to a place just north of Kangan Pool. They'll be stranded after a simulated emergency. No backpacks, sleeping bags or food, just the clothes they're wearing. And water has to be found and carried along the way. Suddenly, this simulation becomes very real.
It's kind of a little bit weird. We were joking there for a little while, but now all of a sudden there's kind of 6 days ahead of us. Very big spaces out here. And the luxuries of life have just been ripped away from us in one foul swoop.
Both teams are nervous but eager, even a little competitive.
See you, matey. Mwah.
May the
Very
best
good.
girl win.
Yeah, see you. Come on, guys. We've got to get her.
For the gentlemen, one bag of gifts. For the ladies.
The scenario is real enough. A helicopter crash in the middle of nowhere.
As you scramble from the burning wreckage, you manage to grab the maps,
handheld radios, flares, first aid kit and your company's supply belt.
consisting of a water bottle and survival kit. You are now alone at
Point A on the map.
As a group, you now have to survive and make your way to the Kangan pool.
Where you know a tourist scenic flight passes over viewing the pool on Saturday or Sunday at exactly
6 days, 100 kilometres. It's real survival.
Yep.
And the first task?
Anybody disagree?
Map reading.
No, isn't north always upwards?
This is north. That's always north.
Well,
What we've
is
got
it
is
north this way?
No, we've got west aiming at the setting
That's
sun.
west. That's north. East.
North.
South.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
That's
No,
it.
my apologies.
That's all right.
I'm going to be a big help.
That's all right.
You can't see that well once it gets to this time of day, can
This
you?
time of day, I haven't found a good description, but this time of day, the glare's glarier
Yeah.
and the light's less. So it just becomes like one big glare.
Okay.
And then suddenly it's black.
Father in heaven, this is a great opportunity for all of us, and I just pray that you'll guard us and watch
Before
us
the men can go, they're asked to wait.
as we take off on
Among
this
them
trip to
is
place
Jean,
ourselves in your
an
hands.
evangelical American missionary with evangelical ways.
And we'll give you the honor in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
That's all right.
Okay. Do you want to check my bearing, G?
The first night goes easily enough for both teams.
Well, the first night's always a doozy, isn't it? It was actually quite cold, but at least we had the brains to put down the space blanket, and within half an hour we'd figured out that if we all huddled together and used our body warmth, that was going to be the most effective strategy, which just quietly, none of us think the guys would have thought of that.
Just quietly, none of the guys did. As the sun rises, the real slog begins. The day's target, 15 kilometres, and with it, their first real taste of the desert heat. Soon, the problems start.
Those hills are further away from us here than the map would indicate. So
Map reading is proving difficult for the women's team.
Now, does anybody want to go in that direction?
This is our contour of our hills up there.
The men are having no such problem.
And right at the very end of that contour where it swings around is that creek bed.
With the vegetation, it certainly looks like a waterhole.
It's a beautiful clear run.
We can't tell which hill's which on the map. It doesn't.
The women are lost, the men aren't. Same task, different result.
We got the fence line!
By mid-afternoon on the second day, the men are on target. They've reached the first waterhole. They swim. They collect water to carry tomorrow. And soon they'll be fed.
So who's hungry?
we should be going straight along the fence line. See if it kicks back in straight, sit along that tree there. Might just kick around.
Lost again, the women are getting frustrated.
Maybe we can just head straight across.
The fish may be tiny, but the flesh is sweet. There's some unexpected nurturing for Wayne, who's suffering nausea.
This is good, mate. Can't bite.
Jean, the preacher, has turned into something of a morale-boosting godsend.
Here you go, Wayne. You need to eat all that you can. Get your energy up, get over your nausea. Get some oils. I just feel like we've got a really great team. When you get out into this kind of an environment, obviously, there's all kinds of pressure on people. But we really haven't seen any flare-ups of conflict or anything. Everybody's just done a wonderful job.
Three hours after the men, the women arrive.
They've taken their time to get in.
Yeah, bet they're beat. Been out in the hot sun for a long, long time.
Yeah, I don't know what they did.
The two teams camp apart. It's part of the rules. They're not to meet or assist each other. So far, the men have done well.
They found their roles real quickly, which made them very efficient, very early, and everybody comfortably settled in to doing what they did best. And that's not typically what we see. Groups take longer to find a way to work together.
My feet are swollen, more than I've ever seen them swollen.
The women are a demoralised contrast. They're exhausted and hungry, and Terry is doubtful she can walk much further.
And my feet will not take as far in the heat of the day.
Just 24 hours in, there's talk of pulling out.
I think we need to ask Bob what he thinks, we could say to him, okay, I don't think we're going to make it to the end.
For 3 hours, they agonise over what they should do.
Yeah, I reckon we should just
ask see what
Bob.
the situation,
Say, Bob,
what
hey,
can we do, yeah.
2 people in our group have got sore feet and someone else has been sick because we did it too hard today. What do you suggest we do?
Yep.
Ask him.
We're wanting to discuss a change to plans for tomorrow. We're actually suggesting a rest day, Bob.
You have to be at Kangan Pool by 4 p.m. Saturday to light a signal fire to signal to a plane over.
As a group, they fed off one another's negativity. They lost their confidence when they couldn't find the second checkpoint and those fell apart. They discussed it, and they discussed discussing it. And they just went on and on. Nobody made a decision for a long, long time.
Well, it's day 3. We've got leaking water bags, blisters, people holding their frustrations in rather than letting them go. And, you know, everyone's so far out of their comfort zone, they spend hours discussing problems rather than solving them. As for how we're going to go today, I have no idea.
Ahead of both teams today, a 25-kilometre walk.
It's so important we just keep moving forward. You know, perhaps that's the lesson we learnt from yesterday. We took a bit too much time out, perhaps, to just... Difficult. We're just getting to know what's involved in all this. You know, it's a whole new ball game for most of us, and it's quite demanding.
For the first time, the men encounter problems. Be it testosterone or bravado, day 3 has seen them set off at a cracking pace. It's a foolhardy decision, and they pay the price. Ted Ambrose, a nurse, collapses with heat exhaustion.
Take a bit of the heat away.
A blistering wind. Temperature in the mid-40s.
I'll drink the rest of it. To your health.
Cheers, for yours. Thanks, guys.
We're a team, we got to take care of each other. I carry you today, you carry me tomorrow.
The camera's just in front of me now, Terry. So just go across to your right.
Terry Poole continues to slow the women down. It's not her blindness, but her blisters.
There has certainly been times with the blisters where I've had to sort of, come on Terry, come on feet, keep moving, and I could have easily given up.
I want you to tell me how you feel about slowing everyone down.
It does make me feel like I'm not pulling my part, and it really depends on how the team comes together on it.
Would you like to swap taking the lead for a little while?
But rather than slow down, there's pressure within the team to speed up, particularly from Judy, who is today's leader.
It would be a nice idea to perhaps just have a silent free hour where we just really power, not power, but you know, comfortably power, so we can try and get in a bit earlier tonight. So let's really keep consistent progress with our walking, and we'll get there and we'll all feel a lot happier. Okay, so let's go. Thanks.
Why did you put a blind woman in the women's team?
She wanted to go, and she's not totally blind. It's a disability, not a disadvantage. She applied, she'd passed the basic course, she'd qualified, and I thought good on her.
The women's team is beginning to fracture.
Just got to keep on. Yeah, sure.
There's an air of despondency.
We're supposed to get to checkpoint 5 today.
I don't know whether we'll get there. I don't think we will.
No.
Too much travelling.
I just want to get it done. Let's get to 6. Let's travel tonight, and we'll get there tomorrow.
Now there's the voice of optimism, which is what we need around here.
Meanwhile, on schedule, the men reach water and once again have time for a second meagre meal of fish.
When you're starving, believe you me, you will eat absolutely anything.
We just thank you, Father, for this bounty of fish that you've given us tonight. We ask that you'll give us nourishment.
It's not until after midnight when the women make camp.
Are they throbbing or are they?
They're like hot rocks.
The physical stress is taking its emotional toll.
I've never been on this side of the fence in my life.
Really?
Never.
We all burn out. And just think about it, you know, how hot was it today? 45?
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was much hotter today walking than it has been, you know, so don't stress out about it because you just, you know, we all think you're incredible.
It'd just be so nice to do it.
But tomorrow will be much worse. Day 4 dawns. It's the day both groups must reach their target of Kangan Pool, the rendezvous point for the search plane. Again, misfortune stays with the women. It begins with an important but manageable problem. By late morning, in the 44-degree heat, Sarah shows signs of heat exhaustion.
I'm knackered. Absolutely knackered.
You should not be walking out into the heat of this day. You just shouldn't be.
Compounding that problem, the women now realise they've used up more water than they expected. They're critically short.
I think we just drank more than we thought we would.
What have you got?
Me? No.
Okay, well, let's rock and roll, people. Do
you have any
string, Terry?
Despite the heat, Sarah's collapse and the water shortage, Judy again insists on the need for speed.
Everybody right? Everybody all got everything sorted?
Tensions capped for days now boil over.
We just want to press on now. We've had a good drink of water. We've rested our...
I actually haven't had one.
All right, I'll give you my water. I'd like to give you my water. No, I'll give you...
I at least know that I'm not on the verge of dehydration because I've been drinking solidly all day and I've had 3 wheeze today and you've had none. So I know that I have more in my body, more water in my body than you do, so I wouldn't take your water from you.
Let's please not stress about it. We'll just have to try and manage the situation. Okay? It's not going to do any good by arguing and accusing and things. We just need to...
No one's accusing, it's just a massive oversight. When are you going to accept that this is a survival reality? You shouldn't rely on Bob just being around the corner or, help us, we've run out of water, you know.
Okay, are we ready to roll?
I just can't believe they can make a decision like that. Are you sure you're going to be okay? Yes. I'm so sorry they're like this. I can't believe
It's not your fault.
I know, it just doesn't give me a lot of faith in women. I've got to tell you that right now. Man.
Eventually, the women reach a waterhole, but arguments continue.
Probably just given half the team the worst dose of bad morale.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry about that. I didn't realise I'd done that.
Don't worry about it.
Everybody ready to go?
No, Sarah's not ready. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
God.
She's stopped.
Sarah has some herbal muscle relaxants, just kind of help you calm down. Some valerian. Do you want to take some? Okay, but yeah, just settle down because it's not good to be that excited and
I'm just
everything when
that
it's
we
hot.
can sort of make progress.
We can, but it's going to take time because we've got things going on. We've got sore feet. We've got high body temperature, so we need to really slow down because we've got plenty of time to get there.
We won't be going anywhere if I pass out. Not that much.
Exactly right.
Okay, well, can we just perhaps walk together for a while, just until we get.
Don't impose things on
Okay,
other people.
all right.
Let's just
Okay, we'll just make
meander up the river and have a good time and relax.
Okay.
Enjoy each other's company.
Day 5. After 65 hard slogging kilometres, The 12 exhausted participants have reached Kangan Pool. Finally, a few hours rest while they wait for the afternoon plane and the message it will drop, hopefully telling them they're to be rescued. They are desperate for it all to finish.
And I reckon if I got to spend one more night with my hips digging into the hard ground.
Every cell in my body's just craving something to eat or something ice cold to drink.
I kind of miss my dog and my boyfriend now. A bit hungry, just a bit exhausted, I think.
Looking forward to just a day of nurturing, just washing my clothes, washing me, catching some fish.
For the women, there's time to bathe, repair relationships, even catch some fish.
What have you got?
A catfish.
I got a catfish as well.
The 4 o'clock deadline for the plane approaches.
We think the plane's going to be about 10 minutes away. And it's over 43 degrees at the moment. It's blowing a really, really hot wind. And everyone's just exhausted. It's almost a case of waiting and hoping and, dare I say it, praying that the plane actually comes. I'd hate to think how we're going to feel in about 15 minutes' time if the plane doesn't arrive.
Man, look at our smoke, girls!
Smoke? SOS?
They're anxious for news of rescue, an easy finish, a shower, and a meal.
7 sisters, that's us.
But for Bob Cooper, how people deal with disappointment is part of the test. The message brings news of more hardship.
Your final instructions. As a group, you are to find your way to Madam Well. On your map, then navigate to the track leading to the front gate of Pyramid Homestead.
They're to walk an additional 30 kilometres.
Wow.
For the men, there is an extra challenge. It's been carefully chosen to shake their confidence and even the odds.
Hot steam and ash flew up into the eyes of one of the remaining 5 members. This effectively renders the person blind.
Yeah, that'll do. First one loose.
I thought of this idea at the beginning because the other team will slow down every night by helping someone walk over every centimetre of navigating and tracks, and we're talking about 95 kilometres, mainly walked at night. And the guys were rocketing along, so I thought it was fair to give the guys the disabled person, which was an injured casualty, that they had to walk out as well.
Both teams are pitted for the final challenge. It's been calculated to impose maximum stress.
The pace that we go, it's pretty much going to take us from now to 9 a.m. to walk that far.
We're going to need 15 hours, really.
15 hours. And it's 15 hours from now that we're supposed to be there.
Of course, it's 30 kilometres on condition that you don't get lost.
Okay, we can do it.
Yeah, we can.
We can finish strong.
But not much later.
We should have taken that other track, because that was it.
Well, we got a little bit geographically embarrassed at the start there. Probably lost about an hour, but we're right on track now, so everyone's smiling again.
Paul Mills now confronts what Terry Poole lives with. His team rallies around him. There is one in front on a narrow cord calling out the hazards.
Hey, Rox, spare thanks to your rod. Wheel right.
And a man behind giving additional guidance.
Quickly bush to your right.
What do you find you're using, which you normally wouldn't? Like, are you using your hearing or what sensors are you using?
Yeah, I'm using my hearing, I think, but I'm really having to concentrate a lot harder.
I expected them to be very, very slow and perhaps short-tempered and all those things. It was just fantastic. They walked at 4 k's an hour. Average walking speed during the day is 3 kilometres an hour. At
Even
night,
with one of their team blinded.
Yes. Yeah, I'm astounded by that.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
It's a punishing all-night walk to the end. But the science of all this is only beginning. Throughout, Sheryl Bishop has observed how both teams reacted when confronted with similar challenges. As a group, the women coped less well than the men. Dr. Bishop's work now is to determine how much can be attributed to personalities and group dynamics and how much to gender.
In some situations in which there is a need to make decisions that are time-pressed, women would tend to have a greater problem using a consensus style to arrive at a decision in a timely manner.
Did your tests, the swabs you took, show the women were under greater stress than the men?
Actually, the stress hormones showed that the women overall were experiencing, as a group, less stress than the men were.
Which is quite ironic because the women seem to be under greater stress.
I was a bit surprised that the women were not showing evidence of more stress than the men. And this leads us to look at kind of coping styles. Men tend to hold in any kind of stress that they're feeling. They tend to hold it in and thinking that they'll just deal with it. It's kind of the old right stuff mentality. Women, on the other hand, when they're feeling stress, tend to express it. And just the very act of expressing things tends to allow the body to physiologically and psychologically kind of settle back down to a lower stress level.
Early morning on the last day.
A brick.
Oh, God. Oh, this is so frustrating.
Lost again. But this time, no arguing. Although getting lost has stretched their 30-kilometre hike to 40 kilometres, hardship and hard going have finally united this team.
So somehow we've got to pick up the pace and pick up our spirits and do an extra 4K this direction. Come on, guys, let's do it.
Just gonna walk on your own, Terry. Yeah, I'll give it a go.
You know, I've got a sneaking suspicion that it's genetic. Women are simply no good at navigating.
They actually hit a bottom, and to come back from that is fantastic. Those people will never be the same.
The ordeal is nearly over. Whatever the differences between the two teams, significant though they were, they will both make it. They confronted the desert and themselves.
99.9% of Australians would never even contemplate putting themselves into this situation. That, for all the women involved, just was probably the most confronting, awful thing they would have ever had to do in their life. And somehow they bloody well made it.
At the finish, the men and women line up together so they can complete their journey as one. There is no thought of the science, only the achievement.
We all going to fit. Synchronise your watches.
Then the 9 a.m. deadline ticks over, and the women are back to being cheeky again.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God.
Well done. Well, girls, we made it. Hey.
Yeah, congratulations.
Oh, you did great.
I'd have you on my plane crashing. Oh, thanks.
As I crossed the finishing line, it was a sense of relief I've never experienced before in my life. I was just so far out of my comfort zone. And I think that's the thing which shone out all the way through this experience. God, I hope I'm never here in this real situation.
Hello, I'm Liz Hayes. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minutes segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.